Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
Welcome in. We're live downtown Las Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino. Loaded 3-hour program coming up today. Professional sports bettor Frank B. in 30 minutes. Adam Chernoff in 90 for 2 full segments. And Mike Somich will drop by the set as well. We're going to go over heavy-duty NFL action today, Pauly, on today's card. Starting a little bit with what took place last night, Thursday Night Football. Here's what I'm a little surprised about with the reaction to Tua's injury. And that is, I'm hoping that, and I get it, reporters are doing their job, but the very first video that I saw on any head coach not named Mike McDaniel talking about the situation today was out here locally. Somebody asked Antonio Pierce, the head coach for the Raiders, his thoughts on Tua, and right away his first response was, I think he should retire. I know that every coach is probably going to be asked about this from the local reporters today. I hope they don't have strong comments about this, because if you think about it from the standpoint, put yourself in the shoes of Mike McDaniel, the front office, the ownership group there, and Tua. Do you want 31 other teams or coaches coming out and saying, I think the guy should retire? Now, should he? Maybe. Maybe he really should. But it's his decision, is it not? Mm-hmm. I don't think it's fair for them to hear from all these other teams across the league saying, you call it quits. Just my 2 cents, early reaction to what took place last night. Very unfortunate situation with Tua Tagovailoa again.
How do you put McDaniel on the spot and when you ask him about a timetable, too? It's like, what or the future of this season? Mm-hmm. Like, is he going on IR? And what are you going to do? So, yeah, right. It's one guy's decision. Decide see what he's going to do. And it's not good for the rest of the season. And now you're going with Skylar Thompson in Seattle next week. And I don't know, Tannehill, Huntley. You got to bring somebody in.
Gonna have to.
You have Boyle. They got rid of Mike White. The guy backing up Thompson now is Boyle. So this is just, yikes. We can't have this. Tua, Love, Puka. Too much already.
2 weeks in.
Too much. Hollywood Brown's out a month.
I was also asking the question to myself last night, why on earth was Tua allowed to walk off underneath his own power? And by the way, you could tell in real time if you were paying attention to the hit by Damar Hamlin. You could tell when Tua's body did that. You knew instantly that the dude's out. I mean, his left wrist did something I can't even do when I'm trying to do it. It went backwards and was like shaking. And then he was like pointing towards a first down and his body, you're just like, oh, please, camera, go, get off him right now.
Kind of fencing. Yeah.
That's exactly what it was.
Yep. So
then he gets up and they let him walk off. I'm like, guys, there's a cart right there. Just please zoom him out of the stadium right now. And also, Twitter's an awful spot for the most part. But the reaction just that I saw on my timeline, come on. I know the guy had a bad game last night. Tua does not stink. Knock it off. If you want to, as I pointed out last night, if you're really going to call somebody bad, don't forget what happened 4 days ago on Sunday. There are plenty of examples of trashy quarterbacks in the league. Tua is not one of them. So bad game last night before the injury, of course. Mm-hmm. But overall, guy's good. And like you said, Paul, I don't want guys like him going down. The quarterback, here's the thing. If you put up a prop right now, I hope to God the no would come in. But will another starting quarterback either leave the game this weekend or miss time like week 3 or beyond? Probably yes.
Yeah.
Might happen again.
He was horrendous before McDaniel got there and had some bad numbers with Flores. But, this was before that happened, though, absolutely fugazi. And we said it was a big game, one they had to have. Yep. If I'm going to take you seriously, you have to exercise the demons and beat these guys. And they were getting their asses kicked. Stop the run, please. Do something. Your other takeaway from watching that could be, what do I do with Jacksonville now? My God, they got shut out in the second half. Cook is gashing them. Guys wide open. Unbelievable. Like Belichick always told Tom Brady. Again, what's the upside of making that throw? The downside is you lose the game, and that just, again, Will Levis part 2.
I know.
Why are you throwing that up for grabs? And it's a pick 6. So now the ramifications of what happens with that division. Buffalo is now plus 110 to win the division. They're minus 240 to make the playoffs. And Miami's season could be over.
Oh, and
so
by the way,
that's another one, and it opens the door maybe for the Jets if they can get right too. But it also changes the AFC playoff picture as well.
I would totally agree. And Allen, by the way, he didn't have to do much last night, but he was good when they used him as a passing quarterback overall in the game. And the defense, I thought, looked outstanding. Here's another takeaway from the game last night. And trusting injury reports and head coaches overall, partially because it cost me money last night. But all week long, Devon Achane was questionable, doubtful, maybe not going to play.
Game time decision.
Sure. Then we find out yesterday, in a few hours before the game, he's going to give it a go. So he's getting touches in the game, down 21 points. What's going on here?
A lot of touches. And the other guys are on the bench.
Yeah, so 16 touches in the first half. Jalen Wright had 1 carry. Jeff Wilson, 2 catches. Achane finished with 22 rushes, 96 yards, 7 catches for 69 yards in the game. The team yanked their starting receivers down by 21. And a guy who was questionable, game time decision, call it what you want, was in the game late? Like, what is going on? What are we watching last night? Power rating down on Mike McDaniel.
What was that before halftime?
No idea.
What you're running pitch plays at midfield?
No clue what he was doing there.
I know. It's like
with
he was
time on the clock to get a score. Yeah.
Yes.
I couldn't believe what he was doing last night.
Yeah. I was surprised how aggressive McDermott was from the get-go too. We lost that prop over 3.5 made field goals. 4th and 3 from the 17 on the first drive. He goes for it.
I was surprised by that.
I know. Someone wake up Al Michaels too. I mean, it's a 4th down play. Wide open, Cooked, walks in, touchdown.
Well, that's going on 3 years now.
I mean, come on, Al, come on. Wake him up. But you are right about 3 years. I was surprised by that, and then it just became, and then Bills in play, whatever you wanted. Whew. I mean, it was just like Miami's not coming back. Nothing out of the passing game. Everything did was on the ground. 3 interceptions, then the injury, and oh boy.
I also thought I gave Skylar Thompson like half of a drive or maybe even a full drive, and I'm like, decent preseason resume for this guy. Actual in-game stuff during the regular season, he has no chance. And I thought the under was a dream as well in play last night.
Yeah.
Because why would the Bills want to score more points? They don't have to. And Skylar Thompson was incapable of doing anything in the game.
Yeah. Remember that game they had to have a couple years ago to get in the playoffs? I think they beat the Jets and Joe Flacco 9-6 with Thompson. And then they were, they actually played well, and they almost beat the Bills as big dogs to finally game. So what would you do? Tannehill?
Oh, I would absolutely call somebody.
You have to, no question.
Huntley's not a bad option. That guy has proven himself over time. Skylar Thompson has not in the regular season. I would rather go Tyler Huntley than Ryan Tannehill, to be honest. But they're going to have to be on the phone and bring somebody in. And we'll get into this more coming up here in a little bit. But 20 minutes ago, the Packers put Jordan Love as questionable. Questionable. So they didn't go out and get Tannehill. They never went out and got Huntley. And they were saying the whole time it's going to be Malik Willis, but now they're naming this guy as, again, gamesmanship here. What do we believe? What do we not believe on a Friday going into a game? I don't know what to believe after the Achane stuff yesterday.
That's right.
So I'll give you one trend tying in last night's game. Steve Makinen, you must read him on a weekly basis, vsin.com. So in week 2 games between teams that were both 0-1 ATS, Dogs are now on a phenomenal run of 27, 11, and 2 ATS. That's more than 70% since 2014. Buffalo got there last night. 3 other examples, the Giants, Tennessee, and Las Vegas this weekend.
Hello. I see that. I raise you. Teams that play their second straight home game, week 1, week 2, and are favored, 27% the last 12 years. Miami, loser already. The other ones, KC and Detroit. KC taking money, Detroit taking money. I mean, Tampa might have 6 guys out. We're up to 4 already. So that's 27% the last 12 years, and you already got a winner there with that one.
How do Tyreek Hill fantasy owners feel today? I'm one of them. I have him in 2 leagues. Now, and by the way, so we were talking about that yesterday with Tim Murray on primetime here leading into the game. Some of these numbers that you can bet during the games, I brought up Shakir to lead the league to lead the game in receiving yards last night. He almost pulled it off. Then Achane comes back into the game and he did it. He was a massive number.
Yeah.
Also, we kicked around like you can bet now the race to most yards, like 20 receiving yards, 30, 40, 50. I bet and I gave out. I said, why not Shakir? First to 20. Well, he missed that because Waddle had that catch to put him at 20 yards. But then Shakir came in and he was the first to 30, the first to 40, which were all above 8-1, 9-1 in that range. He was also in a matchup against Tyreek Hill, plus 325 to win it outright, which he did. Never a sweat with that because Hill never was really even a factor in the game. But this is, I mean, all you need is for somebody like Tua to go down in the game. All of us, then those guys are live.
Yep. That was tough. Achane gets there most receiving, most rushing. Most receiving, 20-1.
Yeah, well.
Man. And then Cook, 90-1, 3 touchdowns. Come on. Give me a break. And a 50-yard touchdown. What do you do with Buffalo now? I mean, you're down 14 at home to Arizona. You almost lose that game. And now you're handed points, and you're handed the game on a silver platter last night. So it's like, yeah, they were underrated coming into the season, but you pointed this out on the pregame show with Tim Murray. The schedule's brutal coming up.
Yeah.
I don't know what you do with but God, 8-9 wins might win that division.
Well, and so here's the thing too. Plenty of people, plenty of pros were actually on Miami in that game after another star defender for the Bills went down in the contest. Bernard, coupled with Milano's injury. And so that didn't pan out very well. McDermott did a bang-up job with the backups and the defense overall in that contest. I mean, they were lights out in that game. At what point do the injuries or the cluster injuries catch up with them? It's unfortunate because Milano is a phenomenal defensive player. And when a guy like that goes down in the preseason, you're like, well, you're going to take away maybe their best guy overall on that side of the ball. Huge injury. So far, so good. It wasn't necessarily against Arizona, but at least they got a win out of it to improve to 2-0, coupled with the game last night.
Mm-hmm. Now, this is great now. Well, unfortunate, but what's Tua worth? Now you're going to Seattle. Okay.
What do you make that game?
I mean, the look ahead was Miami 1. I mean, I'll lay 3 right now with Seattle.
Yeah, I think it might be higher than that. I think it'll be 3.5, 4.
Yeah, well, they were 6.5 against Denver with a rookie quarterback. So that's
right.
I know it's rough.
You never want to see it, and it happens every year, unfortunately. Up next, we'll start diving into the rest of the Week 2 slate. Sunday marks the 5th time since 1990 for a team to be in this position as underdog. The previous teams combined to go 0-4 ATS. Mike.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
It's good to have you on board here on a Football Friday on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Mitch Moss along with Pauly Howard as we start to dive into the Week 2 numbers on the Sunday slate, including the Saints playing at the Cowboys. Cowboys around 6 in this game with a total at about 46.5. Dallas is 27-18 ATS. That is 60% in non-divisional conference games since 2019. They've been really good outside of that division. And also there's this note from Evan Abrams. The Saints closed as 3.5-point favorites against the Panthers this week, again catching 6 against Dallas. We have not had a team win by 20-plus in Week 1 be listed as a dog of 6 or more points since the Niners and Blaine Gabbert did it in 2016. Only 2 teams have closed as 7-plus point dogs after a Week 1 thrashing. 2016 Niners, 1998 Cowboys, both lost by exactly 19 points.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I think this is going, we've talked about this game several times during the week. You saw what happened with Derek Carr against Carolina, maybe the worst team in football. They couldn't get any pressure on him whatsoever, and he was really, really good. How does that work this weekend against Dallas, who seemingly gets pressure on the opposing quarterback almost every single weekend?
That's right. I like the over. I have no problems. If you want Dallas to win the game, and tease them as well. They've won 16 in a row at home in the regular season. Lattimore is a game-time decision. You're correct about the pressure, and that Carr had all day to throw back there. Kubiak did a great job, but you're right. You're talking about a horrendous team and organization with Carolina. And Dak and the Cowboys have been unbelievable at home, offensively, putting up numbers, getting everyone involved. Check the status of Ferguson, though. But I think Zimmer will have something ready to go, and Parsons was a beast and what he did. Now, what went on in that Cleveland game was a lot of Watson. Oh, no, I'm panicking.
Right.
And a lot of those sacks and what happened was on Watson. Well, could happen with Carr, too.
Sure, because he's really bad when he gets pressure.
He is the king at Charlie checkdown and also getting rid of the ball. So I think it's going to be a completely different ball game. And from an X's and O's standpoint, oh, boy. I mean, Dennis Allen going back as a dog of 3+ points is 5-28 straight up. Oof. Also 113-2 ATS after a straight up win November or earlier. So a lot of that was the Raiders where they were garbage and he'd win a game and then he wouldn't win a game again for a couple months. But this is not a good coach, and the numbers are staggering here. So certainly, I think a lot of points in Dallas could take them behind the woodshed here.
I have yet to bet this game side or total. But I am absolutely going to have the Cowboys on moneyline parlays this weekend. I think this is going to be a tough spot for the Saints. You're stepping up from, again, the bottom feeder or one of the bottom feeders of the entire league to a team that playing at home has been good with an elite defense. So I'll take my chances with the Cowboys winning it outright and not really trusting Derek Carr nor Dennis Allen in this spot. How about Buccaneers at the Lions? Detroit 7.5 now, total 51.5. The Lions are 19-6 ATS at home since 2021. And Goff with Campbell, the combination 35-15 ATS. They have been covering numbers better than anybody going back since they teamed up here in Detroit. And here, I'll pay off the tease for you, Pauly. The Buccaneers closed as 4-point favorites against Washington this week. Again, 7-point dog, 7.5-point dog. Since 1990, we've only had 4 teams win week 1 by 17-plus points and be a 7-plus point dog in week 2. Rams last year, last team to do so. Those 4 teams are 1-3 ATS and 0-4 straight up, losing by 17.5 points per game. Does not go well in week 2.
Yep. So Tampa, I mean, the rematch of the great playoff game, which was 31-23. But when you're down this many guys now, and you're already out 4 guys, and it could be worse. You know, McCollum didn't practice all week. You got so many guys who are beat up and banged up for Tampa. You would think this is a get-right spot for Detroit in the overs and the props. But certainly Mayfield was unbelievable last week. But I can't make the case here for Tampa. I mean, how many guys, when it's all said and done and they take the field, how many guys are going to be out?
I know it.
It's ridiculous.
I know it. I like the Lions on teasers, down to 1.5.
Yeah.
Again, and we saw this on the Sunday night game, right? Ben Johnson, who's a very good play caller. I mean, he's elite. But he does get a little pass happy. Happened against the 49ers in the NFC title game last year. They were running smash mouth football against the Niners, and they had no solution. And he's like, let's start passing the ball. Why? So he did that against the Rams. And he got away from using David Montgomery, which was weird. The usage there and the splits, how he used Montgomery and then Gibbs was a little odd to me. And then in overtime, he's like, they might be gassed. Why don't we run the football right at him? And it's like 6, 7, 10 yards every play. Like, okay. I think it actually might go the other way because of what you said with the injuries here to the secondary of the Buccaneers, and we could see Goff come out and shred this team because they can do it. This is one of the reasons why I'm so high on the team. Again, long-term this year. Best offensive line in football. Penei Sewell back, by the way. Looks like he's going to be good to go. And Jameson Williams had a breakout game last week, and they have an elite 1-2 combination with running back. But I think Johnson might have Goff really be a big part of this game on Sunday.
The total from 48.5 up to 51.5 in light of what's going on with the injuries and everyone out with Tampa as well. And I think McMillan here ladder bets pretty good. He's $1.90 to have 25 yards. No, Charge loves him.
I loves him.
He's plus 150 to get 40 yards and just go up, 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 and up and away. You know, and do what you want with this. Tampa 8-1 ATS the last 2 years on the road. So that was, for whatever reason, there were some great Mayfield performances on the road last year, especially going into Lambeau and what he did late in the year, too. So Chernoff's going to make the case for the under. I want to see what he says coming up. But this is one where you're decimated by injury here in Detroit to take care of business.
I would agree with that. Okay, so you brought up Lambeau. Third game here in this segment features that team with the home field. It's Green Bay hosting the Colts. The number is down to 2.5 at a lot of spots, minus 120 on Indy, or minus 3. The total, I think it reached as low as 40 at least one book, 40.5 at some others. Again, if you missed it, the Packers within the last 40 minutes, they listed Jordan Love as questionable. Oh, could you imagine this if he comes out and plays? The Packers, off a straight-up loss since 2018, are 20-13 ATS. At home since 2019, they're 28-16 ATS, and as a dog under LaFleur, basically since 2019, 20-10 ATS. A lot of respect here if Love doesn't go.
This is outrageous. I played the Colts. I had to. Number one, I trust Steichen. You saw how bad Minshew looked, right? So, in the fact that they were in position to win.
I watch football like you two, Paul.
So they were in position to win the division last year. 3-0 ATS as a road favorite, and 5-1 ATS as a favorite period with Steichen. So, as Paul Charchian said yesterday, this guy is horrendous and shouldn't be in the league. Willis, in 3 starts, hasn't thrown for 100 yards. You're better off throwing a ball to the ground and spiking it with the passer rating. So how are they going to move the ball? Sell out, stop the run, contain Jacobs Willis can't throw the ball. He can scramble, though. He's $2 to get 25 yards. He's plus 160 to get 40 yards rushing. That's got to be how you game plan it.
I would think,
if you're LaFleur and how you attack it. But I think, Indy's got to get better on the run, and that's focused on the run. And that's what the Packers are going to try to do here. But certainly I love this. I can throw the ball 70 yards. What are you going to do about it, right? Not that accurate, but here comes Pierce. And it's just a dynamic passing game and weapon that the Colts can have here. And I know with another week and what Steichen put in, where it's just, the touchdown pass was absurd.
I know. So
I think the Colts win the game, and I don't think the Willis and the Packers are going to do much. The guy's awful.
Yeah. So I grabbed the Packers plus 3.5 early in the week. That was this whole Jordan Love potential nonsense. I didn't even factor that in. I just thought the overreaction here was huge. I think I'm going to come back and go for a middle here and go Colts money line on the game. Two other bets I also made.
Yep.
I like the Colts team total. If you shop around, you can find 20.5. Key number there, under 21. Most books have 21.5. I went over 20.5 at minus 118. Look, you saw what the Packers did. Well, I think if a lot of you have Peacock, right, against the Eagles, or were incapable of doing, their defense had problems last year up the wazoo, hence the new defensive coordinator. I don't think they have the personnel to go against a head coach like Shane Steichen. And
they also had red zone issues, big time. Packers.
On offense.
No
question they did.
It's going to happen with Willis, too.
So I played the Colts team total. Look, again, if they can get 3 touchdowns and convert the extra points, it's a winner. I don't have to rely on getting another field goal to go over, and maybe score 24 points. I also played the game over. Because, again, this would have been, to me, my favorite total of the week and one of them of the year if Love was still in. Which defense is getting stops? By the way, the Colts banged up on defense. Out key guys now.
Well, everyone knows how bad they've been to start the season, and the 0-11-1 week 1 going back, and also 1-4. Well, they got the backdoor cover, but the 1-14 and 2 ATS as well. But they always bounce back and respond in week 2. So I think they're ready to go. And the other thing is the killer here. You start 0-2. Sal Pal was all over it. You go back to 1970, and I know we've expanded the playoffs, but still, you go back to 1970, you start 0-2, 9% of the teams make the playoffs. So it's not the death nail, but certainly 0-2 is a disaster.
Up next, professional sports bettor Frank B is going to join the program. He explained weeks ago why you needed to stay away from Cincinnati. Week 1 of Survivor. Does he feel the same way about Baltimore this week? We'll ask him next, coming up on VSiN.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Happy football today, obviously. We're live downtown Las Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino. Did this guy figure it out years ago, Pauly, or what?
Legend.
Join now. One of the best there is, professional bettor Frank B joins the program now. He is on the Progressive guest line, and he joins us live from his home in Puerto Vallarta. Good afternoon, Frank. How are you?
Hey, good afternoon, guys. First time saying that instead of good morning.
Right. So let's start here. You came on the show live in studio when you were in Las Vegas several weeks ago, and you were explaining why you're using math as the basis of your explanation to say why Cincinnati was not a positive EV play in week 1 of Survivor. Turned out to be good if you were not on that team. Let me run this by you. In Bill 80's daily email that he sends out, the VSiN Daily, he reached out to everybody over at Pool Genius. And they responded looking ahead to week 2, the 5 most popular picks and their projections for how many entries will be on certain teams this week. Their projections are 33% on the Ravens. It was a little bit shy of 35% last week on Cincinnati. What do you have to say about using Baltimore in week 2 and around 33% as a projection?
Yeah, a week ago, I would have said that number would have been higher. But because of mostly some bad quarterback play and concentration on picking on these rookie quarterbacks, I think it's going to be, I think that's a pretty good estimation. It's still going to be, I would say it's got to be the number 1 pick because of the extra rest. And, the Ravens looked pretty good on Thursday night, the opening night. But I think that they're going to be number 1. But then you got about 3 or 4 others that are going to be in the mix, and they're going to be, definitely somewhere around 10, 15%, I would think.
Can you elaborate on your point, too? We're going back to Cincinnati about, running in place and that you have to think outside of the box, that you have 14,000 people in this now and how it changes the strategy?
Well, yeah, running in place is a good term to use when it comes to taking these like number one, number two selections, because, what is it that you're hoping for? You're hoping sort of like just to kick the can down the road a bit instead of trying to, what's eventually going to happen is there are bombs that are going to go off in the contest. And a bomb, I guess you could classify a bomb as anything where 15% or more of the field is on it and that game loses. And you want to avoid the bombs. You want to avoid the bombs, especially in the first third of the season where the field's going to get thinned out quite a bit. I mean, later on, you are definitely going to have to do like some matrix stuff and, dodge bullets. But when we're talking about, big chunks of people getting wiped out in one upset like last week or, potentially this week, you want to avoid those. Not that they're not, strong plays. 80% going to win 80% of the time. But if I told you in advance that, 40%, 35% of the field is going to be on there, and that bet is going to lose 20% of the time, would you think twice about maybe using them and say, I just want to avoid that?
Yeah, well said. Do you think you're going to be on any Baltimore tickets this weekend? My guess is no.
No. And you know what? It's real difficult to say it ahead of time, whether you made a good play or not, because I think last week, we all kind of thought Seattle was going to be, the better alternative. It turns out they were on, I think, 25% of the cards. That wasn't the greatest play. Some guys down the list, guys that took New Orleans or even Tampa, those were better plays. When you think about, the other end of things, like what happens when they lose. And you really only get the answer to whether you made a good play when the distribution chart comes out and you get to see. Say like, listen, I lost an entry last week on the Browns. I don't regret it, though. They were on 0.5% of the cards. And, that's the kind of thing. I'm not saying you want to be that extreme, but you definitely don't want to be on the top three picks consistently week after week. You're just not going to, you're just going to, eventually you're going to be in that group that gets bombed.
Let's follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Our guest, professional sports bettor Frank B. He's on X at Ties Win. I will throw you the top 5 projections here again from Pool Genius. As I said, Ravens number 1. Okay. They have the Chargers pegged for about 20% of entries this weekend at the Panthers. The Texans for about 9%. Philly for about 8%, and the Cowboys for about 5% of entries against the Saints. Your thoughts on that?
Really? Mm-hmm. Cowboys for 5, huh?
Yeah.
I don't think I agree with down the list. Well, the Eagles and the Texans, popular. Less than 10%. Those are not bad options. I mean, you want to dodge that bomb. I happen to. You left probably my favorite one off the list. That's why I was waiting to hear it. What do you guys think about Jacksonville?
Well, I know it's a mess now what's going on with Watson. But if I watched that game last night, I'm thinking, why can't Jacksonville move the ball against Miami at times? I understand where you're coming from. I know it's not bad. Watson's a mess. I understand.
I'll tell you this, Frank. So I have a partner in the Super Contest, and we send each other our 5 best plays when the numbers come out. And he sent me his first 5, and he's like, "Oh crap, I forgot. No, never mind. Scratch it." I have a new number 2 on my whole list, and it's Jacksonville because they're laying 3 in the contest, and now I think they're back to 3 overall. But he's like, it's a total, it's an abomination right now in Cleveland, and I kind of agree with that.
Yeah, and that is not going to be on a bunch of cards. Mm-hmm. And I mean, the Browns. I noticed it. I only noticed it like about a week ago. Last year, the Browns had the flukiest statistic coming from out of 2023 was that the Browns were number 1 in points allowed at home. They were also number 1 overall in yards per game allowed. But somehow they were dead last in the NFL points allowed on the road. Yeah. I looked it up. I went back as far as 1970 and stopped looking. That's never happened again. That's never happened, and I don't think it'll happen again. And I don't know. How do you explain that when they go on the road? Some of it is that the schedule and weather and things like that, but I don't know. And then you couple that with the way Watson is just a tough time that he's having there. I don't think that the team wants him as their quarterback. I think it's just the overall, and I'm from Cleveland. I've talked to the guys back there, and they're like, "Yes, we can't." He was looking for a reason. Did he sexually harass you? Because if he did, come forward. We're trying to get him out of here as quickly as possible. So it's like, I don't think the next home game they want him there. So I'm not going to have a hard time taking Jacksonville in the contest for sure. The goal, and maybe in the Survivor.
Excellent point about the defense. I couldn't believe it. It was historic, and all 9 games went over the total on the road last year as well. What would you do if I put you in charge of your Derek Stevens and this thing gets to 20,000 next year or 18,000? How creative would you get to try to trim this down, and what would you do?
I heard you guys the other day talking about different options, and I believe it seems like the simplest one, both administratively and just to pare the field down, is like every 4th or maybe 5th week, make it a point spread thing. You got to beat the spread on that week. So maybe once a month you have to beat the spread. That would definitely whittle the field down a lot faster. Other than that, the whole maybe the pick 2 teams and you could repeat one of them. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I think that the field is just getting to be too big, though. Honestly, it's 20,000 or 20,000. I'm not going to be that enthused about doing that.
Oh no, Would you do?
I don't know. I mean, I have 10 entries this year, and I'm partners with 30 others. I got little pieces of 30 other entries, and when you start to do the math, it's like, well, all right, we're still, this is still a lottery type thing going on.
Sure. Mike Palm brought up the idea, they kick this around, something called Survivor Diamond. And they're like, could we get 100 entries at 100,000 a pop? Could they get 200 entries at 50,000 a pop, or 400 at 25,000 a pop? Would you play in any of those?
Yeah, I would. I would have played in the DK ones last year and this year, except for I'm not there to personally put the picks in. DK had a 50,000 last year, I believe.
Yeah.
Or no, the 50,000 point spread. I believe the Survivor was less than that, but it was 5 figures. I didn't see any. They don't seem to care too much about advertising their contests. They're just buried in there with all the other endless amount of DFS pools that they have. But I would definitely embrace a higher buy-in Survivor pool.
And you'd be okay with 1 entry?
Okay, it's a different strategy, but sure, yeah.
Yeah. Because Palm said that 1, maybe 2 entries. That's it.
Yeah, and all these discussions we're having about Survivor strategy, a lot of them would change if you had just 1 entry instead of 10.
Yep. You're the best. We could talk to you for the entire show. Thanks for popping on. Are you going to hit the paddleboard here this afternoon?
I don't know. Did that already this morning. Okay. We got a storm coming in.
You got a storm.
Know.
Yeah.
So we got out there, and the waves were big, but yeah, we're gonna get out there tomorrow morning if weather allows.
Say hi to Roto the Pelican. You're the best, Frank.
You got it, guys.
Thanks, buddy. There you go. Follow him on X. He's at Ties Win. Up next, Win Lose. We'll recap last night's betting action. And this team did not forget what happened last year. I love these comments. You're going to hear them coming up next.
Night? Wow, winning. Or was it a rough one?
Well, they can't all be winners, can they?
Loser! You're a loser! Pauly Howard recaps the night in sports betting in Win Some, Lose Some.
Total blowout last night. Michaels and Herb Street filling, but some big tickets cashed. Cook 3 touchdowns, 90-1. Cook first touchdown, plus 975. Scoreless quarter cashed, plus 560. And Tua with the horrendous decision on the pick 6 defensive touchdown, plus 250. Why would you throw that? Will Levis part 2.
Well, he's been in the league long enough.
Oh, man, I know. Both teams to score first quarter, plus 115. Most rushing yards, Achane, plus 175. Most receiving yards, Achane, 20-1. All the people out there and all the players. Achane
I
does
cannot believe watching that game unfold. Mike McDaniel left him in the game and pulled everybody else
Everyone
out.
else was out. Yeah, and he's coming up. He's questionable.
Game time
decision. Bills to win by 21 plus 1650. Mercy. Subscribe, be part of the team. VSiN.com, our radio and podcast friends. You always want to see these tweets and videos. DM me at Pauly Does Vegas on Instagram. We'll put you on. This is from Bree. This is Wayne Gretzky, the boxer. Happy walk. Happy walk. Going out there with the walk. This guy is loving it, right? Got a little hop in his step. A little hit. Love it. Yeah, he can't wait for the walk. And he's coming out there.
He's prancing up and down the sidewalk the entire time.
Yeah, right. I can't wait for the walk. I love it. And then Wayne Gretzky again, the beautiful boxer, at home when Bree is trying to clean. A little vacuum here. He's coming. He's following the vacuum. I got it. Step on it. I got it. You get this one? Over here. Get this spot here. Look at Wayne following the whole time. With the vacuum coming over here. And he's a puppy, too. Think about that. I mean, these are big dogs. He comes in at the end as well, following the vacuum the whole time, putting the paw out. Excellent. Thank you, Bree. This, and good job, Wayne. How about this? The owner is in an ambulance. Serious health condition. And the EMTs realize the dog is chasing the ambulance the whole time. Stop the car. Stop the ambulance. Get in here, big fella. And they open the door so the dog can jump in the ambulance and be with the owner. Well done. That is because, the dog's got a panic. Who knows what's going on? Yeah. Well done. Lose some. Texas State. Couldn't believe the movement. +3 to -3. Lost by 3. Up 21-7. You think they're going to move the ball at will? Yeah. And they sold out to stop the run. But Levitt, the quarterback, made plays in Arizona State, who won 3 games all of last year, now 3-0.
All true. That hurt me. Maybe I should have taken ASU and not Scatabo over his rushing yards. He had no chance to go over.
But they gave him like 25 carries.
Texas State did an incredible job of slowing down that run.
Yeah. Did you see this? Crash Davis, Bull Durham, right?
I've watched the movie. It's 35 years old, yeah.
The Minnesota Twins released their minor league catcher, Derek Bender, yesterday after he told opposing hitters what was coming during at-bats. They were eliminated from playoff contention. These are big games down the stretch in single-A ball. 6th-round pick, $300,000 signing bonus, left and right, at-bat after at-bat. He was telling the hitters what was coming. Quote was, "I wanted to get the season over."
Oh, well, you know what? Your career's over.
Yeah, no kidding.
You can kiss that goodbye as well.
As the guy said, I forget his name. He was on the Giants postgame. He goes, "I'm sure they probably took him out back and had a word with him, too, his teammates."
I would think so.
What would happen? This is right. If you speak of me well, right? Here it comes. Fastball down the middle. Home run.
Oh, man.
What are you doing? Can you imagine if you're the hitter? Like, what did he just say? Yeah, fastball coming.
And then are you going to believe him?
Yeah, sure.
What's in your head at that point?
Oh.
I wanted it. Boy, he loves playing baseball, huh?
These are playoff elimination games. God. Several bad beats. Thursday night football over, 49. 31-10 early third quarter. Nothing the rest of the way. Shakir, most receiving yards, 10-1. The Achane business. Shakir has it.
Yeah, he did.
Why is Achane in the game?
I know.
And he got it late because of the bogus, the garbage time stats. South Alabama lane 37 and the total over 50. It was 87-10 South Alabama. But it's a refund because the game didn't hit the 55-minute mark because they only played 6 minutes in the fourth quarter. 87-10 final, but they played 51 minutes.
The teams agreed to it because it was such a bloodbath.
Yeah, right. Absolutely.
What do you think about that rule at the sports books?
I don't like it. That's
neither
can happen, but that's right. Why is that the rule? We went through this years ago with Wisconsin, where some lunatic drove into a pole and knocked electricity out, and they had to cancel the game. Wisconsin was killing them, and then all these Wisconsin fans are like, "What? We don't get paid? What happened?" That's a bizarre rule.
Yeah, I would agree.
Okay, there you go. Excellent job, guys. Win some, lose some.
All right, so this game's very intriguing this weekend. First of all, it's a big-time rivalry. Secondly, when you couple what happened last year, all things considered, Jay Norvell, head coach, Colorado State, called out Deion Sanders when he wore sunglasses and his hat to in an interview, right, to talk to the media. And then the players for Colorado picked it up and they were talking trash to Colorado State. Colorado was laying 23.5 in that game last year.
Yeah.
23.5. And they were dead and buried in the fourth quarter. They came back and won it in overtime. Colorado State, the players, they have not forgotten. A couple sound bites here. Number one, I love both of them. This is Colorado State wide receiver Tony Horton. You tell me if he was pissed off and if he has this game circled on the calendar.
We owed him one. And that's just something that's been sitting on everybody, mind since we came back from break. We owe them. And we walked away from that game, as, we kind of left it all on the field. I don't feel like we left it all on the field because we should have murdered them guys. And, they came out with that attitude as they were on top of the world. And this ain't no Cinderella story, so we coming for revenge. Okay,
number one, should have murdered them. You were.
Yeah, right.
You were beating up and down.
Your coach was very conservative.
Yeah. Yep. This is their quarterback. Both guys were talking to the media. This is Colorado State quarterback, Braden Fowler, Nicolosi.
Yeah, they came out with that attitude and thought it was going to be a cakewalk. They saw the reports, 27.5 points or whatever it was. And they got a rude awakening real quick. And I think it goes to show that the hype, the media train, all that, it only gets you so far. At the end of the day, you have to line up 11 guys against our 11 guys, and we'll find out who wants it more. And we'll see how far Instagram followers gets them.
Oh, I love it. Now we're talking. This is great. We got that game. We got the Apple Cup. We got the Civil War. So I think Brad Powers might have something that maybe Sanders is too much in the passing. He'll tackle, get him. But this whole thing about 2 years now where the public can't get enough in the ratings and they don't care what the point spread is. Well, now they just got embarrassed on national TV by Nebraska, and then Sanders throws his offensive line under the bus.
Naturally, he would.
Absolutely. So Powers is also. And when do you see this hype? He's right, over a team that's won 4 games. How they were walking around last year like they actually accomplished something. They go in, and remember, they were a bad team. They went 3-9. They went into Arizona State and won the game by, 3? And then Sanders is flexing and showing his watch. It's like, they stink. What are you doing? Mm-hmm. So I think Powers is right that if they lose and continue to lose, this will be a dumpster fire and a long season, and it's going to get ugly. So it's a big game, and I love what they have to say, and they should have won that game last year, no doubt. And this is great. They have it circled.
So I bet against them in week 1. I did not have Nebraska, their last game.
Yeah.
There's no way. They might win by 10. I do not want to lay 7.5 points of Colorado this weekend in this game.
Okay.
Colorado State, not great, obviously, but it's a rivalry game. They were 23.5 point dogs last year, almost beat them, should have beat them. And now you have to win by that big of a margin, more than you got to win by 2 scores. Right. I can't get there with Colorado.
Remember Dan Lanning took all that heat with the pregame talk? He's like, well, we're out for wins, they're out for clicks.
That's right.
They're hype. Yeah. And he took heat for it. It's like, he's telling the truth.
Sure he is.
And then they beat him by 50.
How about that?
Whatever it was. I mean, it's like,
Instagram followers will only get you so far.
Good line. Very good. Nothing worse in the world than getting bombarded across social media with people trying to sell you subscriptions to betting picks without transparency. If you get red hot and think your picks are worth money, Juice Reel is the way to go. You and everyone else links their betting accounts, and all your betting history loads into the free Juice Reel app. Everyone bets imported straight from the books. You're as good as your betting data says you are. Unlock the picks that real talented bettors have their money on. Get paid real money when other people unlock your picks. Fully transparent betting advice from real people, only on Juice Reel. Download for free, iPhone or Android, Juice Reel, REEL. Grab your phone, download it now, get the app, Juice Reel. Welcome back, guys. Good to have you, Juice Reel.
I like what you said 3 minutes ago. So, everybody's saying this is a down week in college football, not a lot of marquee games. I'll take that game. I'll take the Civil War. Sign me up for the Apple Cup.
Yeah.
I think we got some pretty good games on the card overall. I think tonight's games are really juicy. Last night's game turned out to be really, really good, as we were kind of hoping for.
Both games are good tonight.
Yeah.
Arizona, K-State, yep. See what if UNLV can hang in there.
Little surprise, Kansas is now laying 9.5. That touches 10, I got to take UNLV.
UNLV's been unbelievable ATS non-conference going back.
Yep. More of the Sunday slate up next. 3 teams blew a double-digit lead in week 1. How have they responded in week 2 over the years? Very well, ATS. We'll give you the impressive numbers next here on VSiN.